In the serene, sprawling landscapes of the Pacific Northwest, a geological drama is unfolding, one that seismologists are only just beginning to comprehend. For decades, they studied the ground, confident in their models. But the Earth has a way of defying expectations. We are now facing a double event, a scenario so improbable it was dismissed as theoretical fantasy. The very ground beneath millions of people is threatening to split apart. Our attention is so often drawn upward, to the spectacle of the cosmos, to the storms that gather in the sky. But while we have been watching the heavens, we've ignored the far greater and more imminent threat. It isn't coming from above. It's been building, silently, unstoppably, right beneath our feet. For over a century, the story of West Coast seismology has been a tale of two titans, the San Andreas and the Cascadia. They were treated as separate monsters, each confined to its own terrifying domain. The San Andreas, a notorious strike-slip fault, is famous for its violent, shuddering jolts that have reshaped California. It's the known danger, the one we've been preparing for. To the north lies its silent, more menacing cousin, the Cascadia Subduction Zone, a megathrust fault, capable of unleashing a magnitude 9 earthquake, the big one, and a subsequent tsunami that would devastate the entire coastline. The long-held scientific consensus was that these two colossal geological engines operated independently, their schedules of destruction entirely their own. That consensus is now shattered. New data, published just this month from a network of deep Earth sensors and GPS monitors, has completely rewritten the rulebook. The findings are so new, they are still being debated in frantic emails and late-night calls between research institutions. The unthinkable is happening. The stress fields are interacting. The two faults are communicating. They are aligning. A rupture on one could now trigger the other, a cascading failure that would dwarf any disaster in modern history. The clock has been ticking for centuries, but the countdown just went into overdrive. Beneath the tranquil beauty of the American West Coast lies a hidden architecture of immense power. To truly comprehend the danger that looms over millions, we must look deep. Not just miles into the Earth's crust, but deep into the mechanics of two geological titans, and deep into the unsettling silence of history. These are the San Andreas and the Cascadia Subduction Zone, two of the most formidable fault systems on the planet. For decades, scientists studied them as separate threats, each capable of unleashing devastation on its own. But recent discoveries have revealed a terrifying connection, a shared destiny that links them together. First, the infamous San Andreas. It's a classic strike-slip fault, a colossal tear in the Earth stretching nearly 800 miles through California. Here, the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate are locked in a slow-motion horizontal grind. They slide past one another at roughly the same speed your fingernails grow. This constant, grinding friction builds up enormous strain in the rock, which is released in the thousands of small, often unfelt earthquakes that rattle the state each year. But it's the sections that don't slip, the parts that are locked and accumulating stress year after year, that hold the potential for the big one, a catastrophic release of energy that could devastate Los Angeles and San Francisco. Further north, a different, more ominous giant sleeps. This is the Cascadia Subduction Zone. It's not a strike-slip fault. Here, the dense Juan de Fuca oceanic plate is being forced to dive or subduct beneath the lighter North American continental plate. But it isn't a smooth descent. For centuries, a vast section of these plates, stretching from Northern California to British Columbia, has been locked together, motionless. As the Juan de Fuca plate continues to push, it drags the edge of the North American continent down with it, compressing it like a giant spring. The historical and geological records are chillingly clear. Cascadia ruptures in a full-margin megaquake every 300 to 500 years on average. The last one? It struck with terrifying precision on January 26th in the year 1700, an event recorded not in local texts, but in the ghost forests of the Pacific Northwest and the meticulous records of a devastating tsunami that struck the coast of Japan. Over 320 years have passed. We are officially in the danger zone. And now, a paradigm-shifting discovery has linked these two systems in a way we never thought possible. Scientists have identified what they call a stress bridge, a direct mechanical connection through the Earth's crust between the northern San Andreas and the southern end of Cascadia. The terrifying implication is that these giants no longer act alone. A major rupture in Northern California could be the literal trigger, the final nudge that causes the entire locked section of Cascadia to break. It wouldn't be two separate disasters. It would be a cascading failure, a seismic event of unimaginable scale. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in the crushing dark where sunlight has never reached, a new and unsettling truth has been brought to light. For years, scientists have deployed fleets of remotely operated vehicles using cutting-edge underwater sensors to map the mysterious Gorda Ridge, a volatile seam in the Earth's crust off the coast of Northern California. They were charting the unknown, but what they found was a terrifying correlation, a hidden connection that fundamentally changes our understanding of seismic risk for the entire West Coast. We've long known about the two titans of North American geology, the San Andreas Fault, a sleeping giant running through California, famous for its violent, horizontal jolts, and to its north, the far more powerful but quieter Cascadia Subduction Zone, a 600-mile-long megathrust fault, capable of producing earthquakes and tsunamis on a scale that dwarfs the San Andreas. For decades, these two systems were treated as separate, independent threats. A new study, however, reveals they are intimately and dangerously linked. The data reveals that when the northernmost tip of the San Andreas Fault moves, even slightly, it doesn't just release energy into the surrounding area. Instead, it sends a focused pressure pulse northward, traveling through the crust like a shockwave. This pulse travels directly into the southern end of the Juan de Fuca Plate, the very plate being forced under North America in the Cascadia Subduction Zone. It's a domino effect on a planetary scale. The Cascadia Fault is currently locked, stuck by immense friction and building stress for over 300 years. This newly discovered pressure pulse from the south acts like a colossal finger, pushing on an already strained system. This isn't just theory anymore. It's physics, backed by terabytes of seismic and sonar data. The models show that a significant rupture on the northern San Andreas could be the final push Cascadia needs to unlock. A major rupture in one could now literally pull the other with it. The nightmare scenario is no longer two separate disasters, but a cascading unzipping of the entire West Coast fault system. This would trigger a seismic event of unimaginable magnitude, one that could last for several minutes of pure, unrelenting destruction, followed by a catastrophic tsunami. The impact wouldn't stay in America. A synchronized rupture would cripple global trade instantly. San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, gone. The resulting tsunamis would race across the Pacific, hitting Japan and Australia with devastating force. Our modern infrastructure was built for earthquakes, but it wasn't built for this. Nature doesn't negotiate. The question is no longer if, but when. And with the faults now in sync, when could be today. Are you prepared for the day the ground doesn't stop shaking? Share this to sound the alarm. The silence of the earth is your only warning.